Open. Chicago with the lead.
Court. Batista with the catch.
Oh!
LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Hand down, man down.
Yeah, I can see how disrespectful he's being right there.
No, I went to Temecula and brought you some dirt.
Yeah, that's a technical.
Mama, there goes that man.
Welcome back to The Bounce. We are your hosts, Kev and James. That is Kev and James, not the King of Queens, but the kings of NBA content right here on Bite Size Sports. James, how you doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing today, Kev?
I am fantastic. We've got live NBA action on a Thursday, which normally we don't. We chose the Bounce back in the day because it was like the least active, so we could cover everything without having to be distracted. So unfortunately, not so lucky today because your Denver Nuggets, for who drive the bandwagon, are going up against my short-term rental Los Angeles Lakers, because we all know I want the epic battle for 18. And
my God, you're awful.
The script may or may not have been leaked. Maybe we'll get to talk about that. But what do we got so far in tonight's action? Lakers Nuggets. Welcome to those of you already watching at home. Happy to see you. Bite Size Vikes. Lee, shout out to Lee Harding. He was here early. Said, well, Kev, you got your wish. He's going to the Spurs. We will talk about that soon.
He was 20 minutes early, and he didn't care. He was not going to miss that comment. We will talk about that. We've got 23-23. Joker makes this. Missed it. Tie game. We got a tie game right now, folks.
Ooh. 20. Oh, wait. No, what's the score? I'm behind, clearly, because it's not tied score on my end.
23-23. I've actually got a plan in front of me, so I believe this is correct.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
You never know. If you're a YouTube TV subscriber, you did not get to watch the end of the game last night because you had to watch the Little Mermaid trailer on repeat.
It's our Heidi Bowl. Those of you young cats might not know what that is. Look it up.
I was not thrilled last night. I thought the world was ending. It was. Ugh. But yeah, so that big news there was YouTube TV went haywire with about 2 minutes left in that game, and it was bad news.
The good news for YouTube TV is that happened now and not during the NFL season, because they had better get that fixed by NFL time.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, NFL people would go absolutely nuts if that happened during Sunday Ticket during the final 2 minutes of a game. They'd lose their mind.
Lee says the play tonight leaves a lot to be desired so far.
Interesting.
So a rough start to that first quarter. Bite Size Vikes saw it all on Sling, baby. Hey, that's not
he did not. John did not have to miss any of it like I did. I was so mad. I was flipping TVs. I thought my TV blew up. Nope, no sir. It was just the YouTube TV. The whole app just said, "See ya."
Thought it was a very
not
clever
for you
Tubi
tonight.
Ad. Yeah, nope. You're just gonna watch this
it
ad.
You go live and it just repeat right on the ad for Little Mermaid, and I'm like, I don't know how much they paid for this, but I'm gonna tell you what, it's too much. Yeah, and they took too much money, and now I'm mad.
So John asked a good question to start us off. Who is guarding Jokic? I'm not watching live, James. I think you have it ahead of you.
I do. Right now, it's Hachimura. It's Rui. I don't know if he started on him or not. Oh, turnover Joker. That was bad. The question, so obviously, Kev, the game was well in hand for the Nuggets. Game one. They were up. Man, they were up big, like 21. I think that was the most they got up by. They switched Rui onto the Joker, and all hell just broke loose for the Nuggets. They completely forgot how to run their offense. Everything. AD was just free safety in it in the paint. The question is that sustainable for a whole game? And looks like our comments right now are saying that they are still doing that.
Yeah, it's still Rui here, which I think is interesting move. I mean, I think it's a smart move is what I should say, because although with the context that you provided, it's important to note it might be a little bit of fool's gold, but you have to try it, right? Because you got some result. I understand that the game was essentially well in hand when they got that result, but as a coach, you think you've seen something that is working, so you got to go ahead and give it a shot and see if it works for you when it counts, so to speak. So and John says AD on Gordon is so freaking genius.
And he's right, because Gordon can't shoot the ball. So AD can just float, sit in the paint. And it almost brought, I mean, I there was a little bit there where I was worried that my Nugs were going to blow a mega lead at home. They didn't, though, Kev. You know what matters is they did not. They did not screw it up.
They held on for dear life. Now, I saw some interesting takes on Twitter. People were saying that they were over-exaggerating the success of Rui Hachimura on Jokic, but here we are. It's the end of the first. It's a tied game. What do you think after one? You mentioned you were sweating before as you're the captain of the Nuggets bandwagon.
I am, in which, by the way, Kevin, I have decided finally as of tonight, it's closed. Bandwagon's closed. Doors are closed. Can't get on there. Can't join me, folks. You're out.
Okay, you're out.
Myself and whoever else is with me. There's no room for anybody else. This is what I expected more. I don't think anybody expected the boat race that happened in the first quarter last game. The Joker had 11 or 12 rebounds in the first quarter. He was, if you saw my tweet, he was on pace for like 30, 40, and 20.
Wow, okay.
He was on pace for an astronomical amount. Like, so they got to find a way to guard him. Let's look at his current stat. Yeah, his stats, he's still doing 8, 3, and 2. No rebounds. 8 points, 3 rebounds, or 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 of 4 from the field, 2 threes, 2 of 2. Or no, I'm reading Jamal Murray. Sorry, geez. 9, 2, and 2. There it is. On 3 of 4. Jamal Murray had a monster game 1 too, man. Jamal Murray, like, he looked like the Jamal Murray of the bubble.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Shades of the bubble. Yep.
He looked, man, he was good. I can't remember what his stat line is, so I'm pulling it up real quick.
While you do that, Lee mentioned that the Lakers started with Davis on Jokic tonight, brought Rui in after 7 minutes. So I'm looking at the full box score, not the game cast. So unfortunately, I didn't get to catch the opening of this game, so I'm not sure how well that worked out, but it sounds like it didn't work. Well, that doesn't tell me a lot, honestly. 7 minutes.
Because it's tied right now.
You're making some subs at 7 minutes, no matter what.
I think that's probably right. You got to try it again. You couldn't just. I didn't believe the people that were like, you got to start Rui and just run with it. I just didn't think for a whole game. I don't think he could do it. Especially Joker's going to figure it out. He's 1-2 MVPs for a reason. Now it worked, man. They made a wild comeback. They almost got it, man. Like that was crazy. I got a little nervous there. Jamal Murray's game 1 was immaculate too. 31 points, 12 of 20 from the field, 4 of 8 from downtown, 50% from downtown, 3 of 3 from the field, from free throw line, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 3 steals too. Didn't he got a block in there somewhere? How the hell did he get a block? He was fantastic. Like the Nuggets came out and it just looked like the Nuggets were playing in a different world, and the Lakers didn't know they had a game.
Which, stop us if you've heard that one before in the chat. I've heard and said that exact same sentence on this program multiple times before and during these very playoffs. So that's my biggest issue with this LA team. It is far too easy for them to just not show up for games, or in this case, not entire games, but halves. And it doesn't like the stakes are too high. I understand that you have LeBron sitting there. Sometimes I think maybe his success can be a negative impact on his teammates, where people get a little too comfortable. We've got LeBron, so we're going to be fine. we don't need to show up. We expect to win, because sometimes we were talking about it previously in other situations. There was a big Memphis game they should have won, and all they had to do, we said it then, all you had to do was match Memphis's energy, because they were shorthanded. You were the better team in that game, and they came out flatter. Pardon my French. They came out flatter than a plate of piss. Okay, that's an old one. You hear that one back in the day.
Yeah, that's throwback, man.
Yeah, exactly. They came out so flat. And I don't understand how a team can do that. And that's what really has me concerned, that they won't get beyond your Nuggets, and you'll be circling that bandwagon real tight here in a couple of weeks. But as we talk about that, they've started off this second quarter with a 5-0 run. They currently have a 5-0 lead. James, before we get diving into anything else, and all of you folks in the comments, let us know. We're going to check on this game throughout the show, but who wins game 2? Not necessarily the series. Who wins tonight? All right. Lakers now have a 7-point lead. Before I can even finish a sentence, they've added to the run.
I don't know what they did here. The game cast is ahead of what I'm watching.
Ooh, sorry, brother.
The game cast, the game. I don't even know what to do. Like, we're in another dimension here. They're never ahead of the TV. The Joker and Jamal are on the bench right now, so that's kind of probably what's going on. Is my guess of what's going on. Oh, Trev. Oh,
welcome, Trev. He says LA tonight, and he says, look at this. The flagrant fouls after review are getting absolutely out of hand. It's unbearable. So I imagine that's for pace of game. Go ahead, James.
No, you're absolutely right. The pace of game. There was some late in game 1. They've already had one this game. I'm okay with their reviews, but my goodness, they take forever. And especially in the fourth quarter too. Like, they don't need to be taking 10 minutes when there's 4 minutes left on the clock. I believe there was one last night in the Heat game that was absolutely atrocious. It took forever down the stretch.
They are bad, and it does. I think it's bad for business. Well, it might not be bad for business because they can fit more ads in, but because I don't know how many folks it turns away. It's going to turn potentially casual fans away, but the diehards are going to sit through it. We know how it goes, but it's not a good vibe, especially in big important games when you make the joke that, the last 2 minutes can take 20, and that can be generous sometimes in real time. It can kind of take away from the experience. And while it's important to get those calls right, I agree with that. Maybe they need to implement, hell, I don't think this is a ridiculous request. We ask the athletes in multiple sports to commit their act, whatever it is, whether it's a pitch clock now or a shot clock or a game clock. Like, all these athletes have to do these insane achieve these physical feats within a time limit. We can't ask the refs. We can't give the ref a review clock and say, hey, you've got 2 minutes, buddy. Figure it out. You've got all these cameras, all these angles. You've got to get it. I know the emphasis is on getting it right, but there should also be a bit of a sense of urgency here because, especially in the NBA, these refs seem to sometimes think that it's all about them. So put in a little work, put a little work. If you're going to, you want to be the center of attention, just make a quick assessment and get out. Sorry, as a former ref, I've got some issues with this.
It's a real thing. I mean, we're making baseball put in a pitch clock for batters, and that's a live game. Like, these refs shouldn't be taking 10 minutes. If it's not obvious, it's not obvious, Kev. As a former ref, obviously you are the expert. I bow to your expertise here. But yeah, like, it shouldn't take that long, man. If it's out of bounds, if it's a flagrant, it's very simple. And then you see something like this too. So I turned it right on to see, I think Lee's talked about the Jamal Murray, and I think it was Dennis Schroeder, but I could be wrong. He got bopped in the head on a fast break layup. And to me, I just turned it on as it was happening. Like, they were watching the replay, and it looked like to me, yes, he hits him in the face. However, he's going for the ball. He just crosses his body. Like, come on, we got to get better. Just because you hit him in the face doesn't mean it's an automatic flagrant. Like, you can be going for the ball and still, like, it's a live play. Like shit happens, man.
Especially going for a layup, you're
fast break.
My face is right here.
It's exactly how it looked like to me. Like I said, I came in late, but that's what it looked like. Right-handed layup, guy comes across, hits him, and then hits him, and it's like that's not flagrant, man.
No, it's not. And that's where I think when you find those sorts of interpretations of the rule, that's, in my humble opinion, that's an unconfident ref. That's a ref who doesn't really know the game the way that they should. They know the rules. There's a difference between knowing the rules and understanding the interpretation of the rule and the spirit of the game. And I do think it helps. I'm not one who says, for certain gigs, I don't believe. I don't believe to cover sports you have to have played the sport. But I think to officiate a sport at the highest level, you should have been around that sport long enough to know it in and out and know what the heart and soul, what the purpose of the rule is, and maintaining the integrity and the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
So if it's an incidental hit to the face, even though the rule book says hit to the face is flagrant, you have to, that's what you are there for as the human being with the ability to solve problems. That's where you need to come in and interpret the rule in the way that it was meant and not be so rigid. And the rigidity usually comes from people, again, who lack an understanding. Well, there it is. It's in writing. So I'll go what we call those, as Trevor would know in the fantasy world. I'm pulling a phrase from the league here. We would call that a rankings bitch, right? Like you don't know what you're doing. You're just going by the book. You're going by the numbers because you don't really know what's going on.
Oh, man. Shout out Trev on that one. That was great. You're right, though. Like, there's a difference between a flagrant and a common foul where there happens to be a hit on the face. Also, the Nuggets still don't have Jamal Murray and Jokic, and now they're going to the scoreboard. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh, Jamal Murray is back in. Sorry, Jokic isn't.
How many minutes did they just try to buy with that? Realistically, I wouldn't be trying to get more than one to 2 minutes max with both of them off the court. To be more honest with you, I think I'd be making it so that with my rotation, one of them is always on the court. If you're going to do it, though, you're going to do it. You do it in the first half, right, James? Like, if you're going to.
Yes, yeah, you got to save it. I think they went 2.5, 3 minutes without Murray, and then they just put Joker back in, so 3.5. But they're down 8 because of it. Also, Hachimura looks like he's back in his Gonzaga days. He just took one and reversed it in a transition. Like, he looks good tonight. I don't lie, it's kind of scary. Consider that was how crazy is it the Lakers just reinvented their whole season at the trade deadline?
I still to this day believe that someone has photos of Danny Ainge in a compromising situation because I do not understand how the Lakers pulled that trade off. If we sit back here for a minute and look at the assets that the Lakers had and how they were able to turn them into just about everything that they needed to become competitive, like that team was. We talked about it for almost the entire season, right up until the trade deadline, about how this team was not. Honestly, it was a year and a half. All of us, the collective sports talking head, we all talked about how this team is not built around LeBron. You know how we all knew? Because we've all seen championship teams built around LeBron for the last 18 years.
Trev's watching this game live. I just saw it too.
Oh, did he do a thing? Oh God, I can't wait to talk about that. But yes, they did. They reinvented themselves. So go ahead. What happened? What did LeBron do?
They agree. We'll come back. He fast break transition layup. He was going for his pat to know where he jumps, and he comes left and he circles it back right and dunks it. And he lost the ball and it just flew out of bounds. So he turned it over. Just straight out balance. It was so funny. Oh no, God. It was wide open too.
You'll have that. I can't wait to hear how that goes in the press.
Oh, it's gonna be
there'll be some very long-winded story about how, well, in pregame I normally or in between the quarters, the hand powder. The hand powder was clogged, so I couldn't get the normal grip on the ball that I normally get.
Crazy.
There's going to be some crazy explanation for how and why that happened.
It would have put him up 10 too.
Would have been a night and a moment like that too. A play like that, it has a much bigger impact when you're at home and the crowd explodes for it. But
yes,
there's nothing like a big dunk that makes the home crowd say, "Ooh," even they're just. It's like a punch to the gut, kind of like, "Ooh, that was nice." And I had to. I had to just said something out loud, even though I wasn't supposed to.
Instead, he gave it right back to him. He just threw it to him.
And it begins.
It was, yeah, exactly. It's already happening in the chat, folks. See, everybody's here. Everybody's here for it.
This is a rare opportunity for me to shamelessly plug some older bite-sized sports content. If you like to laugh at the expense of LeBron James, you should check out the archives. We have a video called The Many Lies of LeBron James, where I went through a Twitter thread of every time he has been caught being full of it for really no good reason. Everybody already loves you, man. It's crazy that you have to tell this many lies, but I love to rib LeBron in this parasocial way. I think he could be doing a lot worse. So I appreciate what he's done for the game, and we've been blessed to live in the LeBron and Brady era, and those of us who grew up with Michael Jordan, like, we don't know what it's like to not have just one person that's just amazing at their sport. So we really should appreciate it, because we don't know that it'll be here forever. But if you can't laugh at yourself, you're doing something wrong, and that includes LeBron. And he certainly asks for it sometimes with the way that he has to, I don't know, write himself a love letter the night before he breaks a record. He just does these things that invites this criticism, man. And like Lee points out, he is still over $1 billion. It's not too bad. He's doing okay, even if that ball did slip out of his hands. So,
oh man.
Should we talk about the Eastern Conference Finals? We're going to spend a little more time here on this Western Conference Finals as it goes live. And I was worried. Justin Herbert, welcome, Justin brother. Herbert. We're glad to hear from you. We're glad you're doing all right now.
Since he's here, he did talk. Justin Herbert did point out that if they lost, that Doc Rivers should probably be fired.
And he was correct about
absolutely
that one.
Fired.
You know what? Hey, but I'm going to show Justin's comment here. Never should have got rid of Jimmy. That is correct. That's certainly something worth looking at. Before we dive into the Eastern Conference Finals,
Tobias Harris, who?
Tobias Harris. Justin says Sam Cassell is coming to town. And let's see. Before we dive into the Eastern Conference Finals and all that stuff, let's talk about. There's been 3 firings so far of what I would call, at the very least, high-profile coaches. So I got a couple of questions for you, James. For those of you in the audience, let me know your answer to some of these as well. What is the most shocking? This is my first one. Which one surprised you most, James? We have Monty Williams, Mike Budenholzer, and Doc Rivers all being given their release papers in the last couple of weeks. Which one stuns you that you're just kind of like, I really can't believe you're not running it back with this guy on the sideline?
Man, what's kind of crazy is none of them really surprised me. Like Buden, of those 3, Justin Herbert, my guy, always the Owls, baby. Of those 3, Budenholzer is the one. Like,
the number of teams that never should have gotten rid of Jimmy Butler are endless.
Correct. It is correct, except the Heat. Now they have him. See, I agree with Justin Herbert. I think Budenholzer was the one that shocked me the most, even though I actually agreed with it.
Even though we called it on this very program.
Yeah, we called it. Monty going back-to-back years, getting beat by 30. Not surprising, especially with KD being on that team. And then the 76ers, that's 3 straight years in a row they haven't made it to the conference finals. They had MVP this year, and they got boat race in that game against the Celtics in Game 7. I think Joel Embiid needs a new voice in there.
Absolutely. Well, and there's been a narrative around Doc Rivers about his inability to win these big games, regardless of the collection of talent. This is not the first. First of all, it's not the first Sixers team to not come through in such a manner, but it's certainly not the first Doc Rivers coach team outside of Philadelphia to go through this in such a manner. And I will agree with everyone. Although we called it here, we said that if these adjustments weren't made, Budenholzer would get fired. The problem of it is, when we said that, we didn't know that Mike Budenholzer's brother had passed away during the series. And that is why it kind of shocks me.
When that came out, it was a little more surprising, but it really was still, it came out, but it was really never talked about.
Yeah. And so I thought that would give him a bit of, if there's anything to give you a pass, I feel like that would be the thing that would give you a pass. Say, hey, look, because we have to acknowledge two things can be true at the same time. And yeah, we can't blame Ben Simmons anymore. You're right.
Did you see that he tweeted a picture of he was watching the game from his couch?
Oh, I did. It's one of my most liked reply right now. I said, finally a shot you didn't miss. And it's just blowing up. So listen. We're all about busting chops here. We're all about accountability. You know, you got to be able to take it. Got to be able to take it. You know, I'll take anybody's hate on Twitter. It's part of the game. But it's fun. You know, don't start any. There won't likely be any. But what we were saying.
Second this. It's so good.
Someone got me even better. You mean a shot that was taken? You mean finally a shot that was taken? And I said, ooh even better.
That's good too.
But here's the thing. We were talking about with Budenholzer. I really thought, because two things can be true at the same time. He was out coached by Eric Spoelstra. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. But I thought it was reasonable when I hear why a very reasonable or a very good reason for why he was distracted with the loss of a family member. But then you look at the guy's track record, and it's not the first time he's had the inability to make adjustments. It's not the first playoffs where his team has gotten stagnant offensively. So I am with you, James, in the sense that none of these were a real shock to me. The biggest shock to me about all of this is that Doc Rivers is somehow the favorite for the Bucs job. I don't understand where that rumor came from on Twitter.
The Bucs have also interviewed everybody. I think they interviewed some college coach recently. There's rumors of Mike Izzo.
I have an email. I might need to check it. It went into my spam folder, but the Bucs might have asked me to interview for their job. Come to think of it,
right?
You're right there. Anybody,
everybody. I also keep not seeing Nick Nurse's name anywhere, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm expecting to see Nick Nurse on the side of a milk carton soon because I haven't seen him.
Maybe he went with Lane Kiffin and flew over to Thailand or wherever Lane Kiffin went right after the season. Or not Lane Kiffin, the
Cliff Kingsbury?
Cliff Kingsbury, yeah.
Even he's got a job again, right?
Yeah.
He came back.
He's back in college, yeah.
Justin says whoever gets Doc Rivers will definitely regret it. Now
Doc's only got one title, right? He's only got the one with the Celtics with KG, Garnett, and Ray Allen, right?
That's correct.
That's what I thought. Once a head coach, always a head coach, Kev. It's like the golden rule. If we could have just become a head coach, man, we'd always have a job forever.
Listen, I'm going to try to work my way back into the high school circuit, just start getting thrown out of games by my former peers in the OSHA official rules there. He was Urban. That is where Nick Nurse is chilling with Urban Meyer.
You just don't see his name anywhere, and I'm so confused. Like he's fantastic.
At one point, one of the bigger names, one of the hottest names in coaching. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, did Nick Nurse not replace Coach of the Year, Dwayne Casey? Remember that when the Raptors fired the Coach of the Year?
Yep. And then won a title with Nick Nurse.
Yeah, and then completely revalidated by that rash and incorrect decision by winning the title. The world is crazy, man.
The NBA is wild. That kind of crazy stuff. I mean, look at Mark Jackson. He gets fired from Golden State, and then Steph Curry and Klay Thompson turn into world beaters. Draymond hits, and all of a sudden Steve Kerr's got 10 years of just stellar play.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I don't know who. So now that we've gone over our biggest surprises. Now, do you have, with these three candidates, do you have a landing spot? You can pick one. If you have one for all three, I'd love to hear it. And in the chat, guys, let me know who you think is a good landing spot for any of and hell, let me know where you think Nick Nurse will end up too. For all, maybe Dwight Howard's going to start recruiting coaches soon. He's trying to, we're glad to have you back, Justin.
Yeah, we missed you, bud.
So where do you think, James, anybody sticking out that you think is going to go out and get one of these coaches?
I've seen the rumors of Monty to the Bucks, which horrifies me. I don't need to see Giannis setting 1 billion ball screens a game, him and Brook Lopez.
Oh God, the Giannis, Brook Lopez pick and pop.
No, I don't need to see it. I even hate that rumor.
Oh, it would kill in 2K.
I hate it.
Listen, I'm a pick and roll guy at heart. I love it, but no, I also don't love it, right? Like I love it a few possessions a game. It
loves
gets
it
me,
every
oh,
possession.
yeah. But no, yeah. Well, he loves just finding that thing that works.
Aren't
right?
you and John starting an old school franchise on 2K? Isn't that right? Isn't that happening?
Yes. Hey, John, I don't want to put you on the spot, so feel free to just hit me up in Discord. But I would love to actually record that and put it on our second channel, Bite Size Streams, and we could probably live stream it on our Twitch channel. I don't want to bog things down on this glorious channel we have here, but I would love to put our early 2000s dynasty on the second channel. Monty to Pacers. Justin, this is twice in about 10 minutes because I'm going to go up to another one. I'm surprised Rick Carlisle still has a job. Yeah. Listen, I don't get where this hate is coming from for the job that Rick Carlisle has done in Indiana.
Man. You were really excited the other night. You thought there was a chance. You thought the Pacers had a chance at Wemby.
Well, not at Wemby. For the record, what I wanted was like as unattainable. What I wanted was to move up 1 to 2 spots from 7. Because last year the Pacers got Benedict Mathurin at the 6th spot. So I know the value of a 6th spot. What I didn't remember was the funky N shape of the lottery odds that had the Pacers getting a 0% chance to get the 5th or 6th pick. So ultimately, I didn't realize until it was too late. I was rooting for the 4th pick, which was unobtainable. But yeah.
Justin, I sent a prayer out for you, but I was worried, man. I was worried about you.
I checked in. I took a look on Facebook just to make sure. I was like, as long as he's posting, we're okay. You know, it was a lot of stuff I cannot repeat on this program in case ESPN wants to come calling soon.
So there was just a foul in this game. If Lee's still watching this game, there was just a foul where they hit Rui in the head going for the ball, and it wasn't called a flagrant. It's absolutely, he doesn't mean to. I'm not saying it should have been. It's absolutely the same exact type of call from earlier in the game, and it wasn't called. It wasn't a transition, but man.
So they got it right this time. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, they got it right. It was just like, what the heck is going on? Denver's starting to kind of figure their offense out too. They're back within 5. Just weird. Like, I just hate all that.
Maybe they got it right. I would like to think, much like coaches make adjustments, I would like to think there is somewhere there's an official, just like the NFL, they always reference the guys in New York, you know, when they go to the booth and they have, you know, this super secret bunker underground where guys are watching the tape at the same time to make sure they get the replay right. I'd like to think that there's somebody for the officials that gives them pointers, you know, even if there's somebody on the sideline, right? Like a supervisor. Yeah. Most jobs have supervisors active that are saying, hey, you missed this, you know, and sometimes you catch something during the workday. Your boss doesn't always wait until next week to correct a mistake you made today. Sometimes they correct it on the fly. So I will just hope that maybe somebody said, hey, you guys got that one wrong. Get it right this time.
Trev meant to say fast as possible, not cats as possible. But yes, I think that's right. It wasn't a transition. It was underneath the basket. It was
running as I think it was a typo, but running as cats as possible gave me a chuckle. I couldn't not laugh at it. That's a good way of saying it. You know, if you ever had a cat run through your house at 3 a.m., that's a legit
Kev,
thing.
I don't know what cats are doing going through your house at 3 a.m. I don't think I want to know, bud.
Dude, hey, listen, cat owners know what I'm talking about, man. Cat gets the zoomies whenever they get the zoomies. I don't know.
Well, that's because they're planning your death. Cats are evil, man. Cats are evil. They wander around in the middle of the night. You'll wake up and they'll be laying next to you, just staring at you, and you're like, "What the hell is going on?"
The Rui game is wild, coming from John at Bite Size Vike. So let us know. Do you have that? Do you have the stats handy, James, for the Rui?
I'm pulling it up for now. The game is within 1. The Denver stormed back there. It's 49-48. Let's see what Rui's got here. Oh,
all love, Justin. You know it's all good jokes, man. Yeah. You know it's all good jokes around here. But we really were, despite my complete selfishness in rooting for. I've made no qualms about the fact that I want a Lakers-Celtics finals. Now that we're this close, I'm being selfish about it. I still was like, a part of me was hurting knowing that our boy Justin Herbert wasn't going to get to see his Sixers roll on. I was like, dang, man, dang. But Rui is 6 for 6.
15 points, 1 3, 2 free throws. Yeah, he's playing great. In 11 minutes, he's their leading scorer. Reeves has 9, LeBron 8, Russell 6, Davis 7. Denver's got it back. I think they just lost the ball out of bounds there. Yeah, so they're down 1 with 2 minutes, 20 seconds left. Joker's got 16, 6 and 5 on 8 shots. Jamal Murray's got 10 and 5 and 4 on 10 shots. So he's struggling a little bit shooting ball. He just took a wide open one in transition and missed it. It was a little contested. Oh, that guy fell down.
And it's worth noting that all bench players not named Rui Hachimura have combined for 6 total points. So on both teams, these are getting to be Tom Thibodeau-esque rotations.
Yes, it is.
Early on.
The Nuggets got Bruce Brown's played 16 minutes. They've got 3 other bench guys that have played a total of 15. Rui, Schroeder have played 11 and 13. Lonnie Walker, these are tight.
Trevor brings up a good point here. If LA keeps this close, they will have a chance in the 4th, and they've been dominating 4th quarters.
Jamal Murray just missed a wide open kick out 3. Man, he is struggling shooting the ball tonight.
Yeah, can't have that, but it's early. If you're going to have it, take it in the 2nd quarter.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I would have faith. You don't doubt that Jamal is going to keep winging it.
The Joker, that would have been the wildest thing. It is the wildest thing. Well, he missed it. He took it coast to coast, missed it. One of the weirdest funky floaters. Got his own rebound, missed that too. He is goofy as heck, man.
So Justin here poses a question. He said at one point, Rui is different. We had a chance at him. We being the Sixers. For those of you just joining us, welcome, by the way. Hop into the chat. We want to talk to you. He says, and you know who we went and got instead of Rui? LOL, take a guess. Who was it? James,
I actually don't
know?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of when, because there's a couple of points in the timeline when you could have gone after Rui, right? Was it? I'm assuming it was just at this most recent trade deadline. Justin, fill us in. Who was it? This is where you folks at home help strengthen us at the network. We need to hear from the real true fans. So as a Sixers insider, our Sixers and Chargers insider, the Justin Herbert, will let us know who the Sixers got instead of Rui Hachimura. I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to see if it was a draft or if he's talking about something else.
Yeah, was it a trade deadline move?
He just got a dunk too, man. He's got 17 points now.
We are closing in on the end of the first half in the Western Conference Finals, Game 2. I see a 5-point Lakers lead right now is what I see.
Yes.
Let us know, guys. We're getting to the halftime. Hit us up in the chat. Welcome. We got a lot of new people coming in. I appreciate you on all 3 platforms, by the way. So whatever you are watching on, get at us in the chat, in a comment. We will answer your questions, share your opinions. And this might be a good time, James, to pitch our Discord. You can join the conversation all week long. I will tell you, this helps me get through the workday sometimes, James.
It helps me. Helped me today for sure. Knowing I was going to be able to talk basketball with you all night, it was exactly what I was looking for.
And our Discord is much like the comment section that you're hanging out in right now, except it's all day and most of the night. And you can join anytime. And we have a channel for every single sport. So if you want to talk NFL, XFL, combat sports, at some point when everyone's asleep, I'm going to add a wrestling channel to the network so somebody can talk to me about wrestling. But other than that, we would love to have you all in our Discord and also on Playback TV, where we will be watching more NBA playoff games. You can join us on playback.tv/bitesize sports. So James, what do you got for the folks at home? We are now at halftime. What should we talk about next?
Jamal Murray is struggling, dude. He is 3 for 13 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3. Johnny, it's going to be, can you imagine if it was 7 seed Lakers versus 8 seed Heat?
I would hate it because I'd be so close to what I really wanted, and then that's also a rematch of the but at least it's got some storylines. It's a bubble rematch. It's a bubble rematch, and we've got the 7 versus 8 to finish that thought.
It'd
But
be
sorry,
wild.
I popped because of the comment that came on screen.
Yep.
Ooh, Jalen McDaniels v. Rui Hachimura. Go, James. Who'd you rather have?
One that's playing in the playoffs right now that has 17 points at half.
Shocking.
Pretty simple.
Hot take, guys. Hey, can someone give me the timestamp in the comments? That's going to be our hot take of the week. I'm going to clip that.
Right.
Certainly going to get a lot of views there.
Yeah. Let's do it deep. Okay, we got halftime here. We're going to talk about this more when it rolls back out. Let's go back to the Heat game, Kev. Let's talk Heat from last night. You saw the stats. You saw the odds. ESPN tweeting out some ridiculous graphic that said they had under a 3% chance to win the series. Like,
never tell me the odds.
97%. It was the dumbest thing ever. Everybody knew it. This is the most obvious Heat win ever, and they did it. What stuck out most for you from game 1 last night?
What stuck out most? Honestly, what stuck out most to me is the coaching. We talked about it. We talked about it in the last series. I think I got to pull up the stat. I got to look at it, but there was something along the lines of, Joe Mazzulla just not even calling timeouts, like just allowing runs to go a little too long.
It was Bill Simmons who tweeted that out. It was, what did he say? The Heat scored 46 points in the second quarter, and Joe Mazzulla never called timeout. And was it the third quarter when they scored like 7 straight, and Spoelstra immediately called timeout?
Because that's what you do. That's what a coach does. I know not all players like it, right? They
you
don't.
You got to break that momentum.
Exactly. They want to get into the flow of the game, but so do the other guys.
And
other guys are in the flow of the game right now, and they're waxing us up and down the court. So as the coach, as the leader, I'm going to call a timeout. I'm going to make everyone sit. Even if what we draw up isn't that great, I'm going to make those guys go sit down. I'm going to make this crowd watch stupid Jumbotron videos for 2 minutes while we cut to commercial. And I'm going to settle my boys down, and I'm going to rally. And I'm going to have my talented assistant coaches, hopefully a few of them are former players, getting in there, getting everybody corrected, because you can't – correct me if I'm wrong here, James. This feels like coaching 101.
Yeah.
You have – and maybe it's something that can't be taught. Maybe it's an innate ability, in which case we just have it. But you got to know when to call a timeout, man. Like,
you got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
Exactly. And it's just – there's not a lot that you can control as a coach in between those lines. You can call the plays, you can't run them, you can yell pass, you can yell defense, you can yell put your hand, whatever. Okay, we get it. That's something you can actively control. When the other team is on a run, you can call some timeouts. So that's really like my big takeaway. Right? I'm worried. I think last week was giving Joe Mazzulla praise because the last time something like this happened, everyone jumped ship and said the Celtics are done, and that was an overreaction.
He was overwhelmed. He couldn't handle the moment, et cetera, et cetera. It is not the first time, like you just said, though, these playoffs that we've talked about Joe Mazzulla looking a little outmatched. And there's no question asked who the better coach is in this series, regardless of what you think of Mazzulla. Spoelstra is the best coach in this series. He is one of the best coaches in the NBA.
In my opinion, he's the best coach left. Give all 4. Like you said, he's one of the best in the NBA, but he's definitely the best remaining.
He is absolutely the best coach remaining right now, head and shoulders above the rest of them. I would agree with that. No questions asked. He's one of the best in the league. His spray tan is elite too. He looks like he lives in Miami. Good for him. He looks great. Like he definitely looked like Mazzulla was out-coached. I was very thoroughly impressed. I mean, Jimmy obviously everybody's talking about him. 35-7, 6'5" on 25 shots. He was fantastic. The Heat's role players were really good this game, man. Really good. Kevin Love gives you 8 points on 4 shots. Bam was really good, 28 and 5 on 13 shots. Gabe Vincent had 15 points on 6 shots. Max Strus had 15 points on 10 shots. Caleb Martin, who I don't like because I hated that Nevada team, but he got 15 points on 11 shots. Kyle Lowry had 15 points. So goes to Kyle Lowry out there. You know, I was expecting to see an Adonis Haslam sighting there at some point, you know. But the Heat's role players were really good. I think that's where the game was won. Heat shot 51.6% from downtown compared to Boston's 34.5. Boston's obviously a team that you think would shoot it way better. The Heat they're not very good shooting threes.
Yep. Now that we're getting to some of our other takeaways, you just hit one, so I'm going to hop in here for a second. My second takeaway was that the Heat aren't going to do this every game of this series. They're not going to shoot like this. So was it you or John who put it in the Discord that this might be a gentleman's sweep? It was, I think, early in the second quarter. This might be a gentleman's sweep, but the Heat are winning this game, kind of a thing. Like listen.
It might have been John. I can't remember who said it, but yes, like this, I've said it the whole lead up to it, the way the game was talked about, the way the people were talking about the Celtics, like they were some miraculous godsend team, et cetera. So I was like, the Heat winning would be the most Miami Heat thing ever, to walk in there and just blow the doors off them in game one. And they did it. Their third quarter was unbelievable.
Yeah, they did. And it's interesting. This Celtics team, the narrative, the pendulum on how people have felt about this team throughout the season, because early on they were unbeatable in some people's eyes. There was a stretch there in the regular season where, wow, the Celtics cannot be touched. I may who, you know, that's why I laugh at this stuff, where the same people who 4 months ago were saying the Celtics were the best coach team and they were unstoppable are now, you know, they have one bad playoff game, which somehow people forget happens every single year in the playoffs. We've seen entire series go 7 games. I think it was a Heat Hawks series a few years ago. Every game was decided by double digits, but it still went to 7. Like, this is a thing that happens.
It does, man.
It's people go on runs and stuff like that. So I think the Celtics are A-okay here. I still think they're going to win this series. But yes, this was the Miami Heat's game to win. The Celtics have that same problem that the Lakers have, where they don't show up mentally for every game. I don't understand it, but that's the only explanation, because physically and as far as the coaching goes, the Celtics are a better defensive team than the Lakers.
Yes.
So with them, it's even more so. It has to be an energy thing with them, right? Because they're better. They're better at it. So we've seen them do it better. But we have these issues that we have seen. So we can check in here on our current game that is live. I see a little stats here. John over at Bite Size Vikes. Check him out Tuesdays on this very network. Necessary Roughness, covering everything NFL, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. What
Joker's
else we
having
got?
a good game. It's the Jamal Murray thing just sticks out to me. He's bad, and then there's no other help, it looks like. Yeah, John. He also had a third turnover there too. There was two travels, and there's another turnover too. He had 3 turnovers in 3 minutes. Didn't take a shot like the last 4 minutes. Tatum looked all sorts of goofed up down the stretch there. Looked like a far cry from that 51-point outburst that had just happened a few days ago.
But lest we forget, which is so easy for us to do in this quick turn cycle, he looked terrible for 2 of the 3 games before that 51-pointer as well. Remember, he had, I think, 2 games in a row, start out 0 for 5, 0 for 7. He's been really inconsistent throughout these entire playoffs. He really has.
Lead answer your question. I don't follow hockey except the Kraken, and they lost, and I don't really follow them. Just their logo's awesome.
Hey, but we have a guy. We have a hockey guy, Nate. We got to get Nate.
Yeah,
we got to get him one more. Guy. We got to get one more guy up in here, or gal, if you want to talk hockey on this very channel.
Hey,
we have a spot for you.
Guy.
Hit us up on Twitter or Discord. But hey, as Trevor points out, and as I pointed out, we talked about what happened after and what happened before, but the dude did put up 50 in a game 7. So again, he's going to be fine. They're going to have a game within this series where everyone says, "Oh wow, the Celtics are it." You know,
they're back. They're back. Here we are.
Yeah, Jimmy has one off night, and the Heat get beat by 25 because without his consistent output, they won't keep up.
Yeah, Lee brings up a good point, though, is that's the shooting won't be there every game, but the Heat, that's what they do. They muck it up. They come at you. They punch you in the mouth. They try to punk you. And they're good at it, man. Like, they just need to steal one in Boston. They're ahead right now, man. Like, they're going to go back to Miami tied or up 2-0 at worst tied, up 2-0 at best. Like, they are in really good shape.
They're playing with house money in game 2, which is a very, for some teams, the Lakers and the Celtics, it's very dangerous to play with house money. Not with the Miami Heat, I don't think, because
no, ask the Bucks how that went. Ask the Knicks how that went.
They understand the importance of those.
Let's look this comment up. Spoelstra had a comment on how the play-in game was the best thing that's happened to the NBA in a decade. So let me see what his comment. I saw it on the front page of ESPN right before we hopped on.
I like that we've got some hockey fans up in the chat. So heck yeah.
I heard hockey games in person are awesome. I've never been.
They are fantastic. It is something hard to explain, especially now in Columbus. We have that godforsaken cannon that gets fired off every time they score, and I'm not about that.
Hopefully, they're not firing it at somebody. That'd be awkward.
Well, it's Columbus. Luckily, they don't score a lot, so the cannon doesn't get put to use very often.
All right, let's see.
While you look at that, John says, guys, what if the Heat just win in 5? You know,
just crush them, my man.
Will auction off this handmade Miami Heat hat right here. That's what I'll do. We'll do a giveaway if the Heat win it in 5. No, we won't, because then I'll have to go buy a new Heat hat. But ooh, walleye. There we go. We got some. I remember. Listen. I hailed at one point from the Toledo area. I've seen a few walleye games there.
Toledo walleye, huh?
I did not know they were the Detroit Red Wings affiliate, so that is cool.
Yes, Kev's hat is awesome. It's an awesome hat.
I try to keep the hat game proper. They're either old '90s snapbacks that I kept from when I was a kid, or something I found somewhere special. What did you look at? Did you get what you needed to pull up?
I got his quote. So his quote from today was, "I do know the play-in helped. There are far less teams tankings. Everyone was fighting for it those last 2 months. Every game was must-see TV, and that was in both conferences. So I think for the league, that's probably the best thing that happened in the last decade." He continues, "It was a blessing to be able to go through all of that. I've not been part of a regular season like that, and I think we all grew and got better from it. Do not let it collapse our spirit, but really harden us, steal us, and bring us closer together and develop that kind of grit and perseverance that's needed in the postseason. If we didn't have those moments, those last-second losses, those crushing last-second losses, then also a bunch of guys being out there all the time." So he's talking about how they get so many guys helping him a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
We were in a struggle fighting for our competitive lives for 3 straight months because of the play-in and because of all that adversity. And he is right. They were fighting all year to get in. He said, yeah, he's right. We were not doing typical stuff like load management or just counting games. We were doing whatever we had to try and put ourselves in a position to win. He is right there. They couldn't worry about any of that stuff because one loss and they'd have missed the playoffs.
Yeah, and we probably won't dive down the load management rabbit hole in this episode, but we've done it here, and the numbers suggest that it's doing more harm than good. I just think logically, any active human being would say the same. I think I have had far more injuries coming back from long periods of downtime and trying to overdo it because my brain is used to a certain level.
Yep.
And the body tries to follow along because of muscle memory, and then things aren't as sturdy as you thought they were, and something snaps. It to me, it makes more sense. If you're going to load management, it should be fewer minutes per game, not fewer games played. Because you need to stay. A body of motion needs to stay in motion. You're not going to have a health like these guys are running on a hard floor. It's not good for your joints to do what they're doing.
On top of concrete, a spring-loaded hard floor on top of concrete.
So I get that some rest is necessary, but at the same time, you can't go from just not doing it to then full sprints. You know, that's not the solution to me. I think the solution is to pull back on your minutes per game, and then when it comes to be playoff time, it's not a problem that you're like, oh crap, because you're never playing back-to-backs in the playoffs. So you don't have to really worry about it as much. And you can go deeper and play more minutes there. I feel like the NBA as a league, these organizations have just completely botched this whole load management thing.
I
I
agree.
don't understand where it came from and how it continues to be viewed as a reasonable solution to this problem. It's how many times did it have to fail before somebody tries something?
Well, how many fans have to be just completely disappointed? Like the NBA, I would say as a product, the NBA's got compared to most of the major leagues right now is the major pro leagues is considered publicly, whether it's true or not, to be one of the worst products. You've got however you feel about the regular season, then you factor in load management, guys not playing all the time, people not being able to see their favorite players when they play in Indiana once a year, you know, stuff like that.
Yep.
It's got to be fixed. You can't be doing it. And then tanking has always been a real issue in the NBA. Even with the lottery, it's still a thing. Look what the Mavs did this year. And even though the Mavs got fined for it, don't think Portland wasn't doing the same thing. Like the last 10 games of the year, they weren't playing guys. Like,
yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it is. It's a thing.
It's for the long-term health of the franchise. It's usually the right thing to do to take 2 weeks off at the end of the season.
Let's take a turn here, Kev.
Ooh,
NBA draft. We talked draft. We talked a little bit about Tuesday. For anybody that doesn't know, Victor Wembanyama will be drafted by the San Antonio Spurs. Their run of elite centers is about to continue. Greg Popovich will retire when he's 200 years old because he's just going to keep getting a center every 10 years. He's going to keep him alive and going. The question at 2, Charlotte is 2, correct?
Yes.
Charlotte 2, Portland 3. Portland's publicly came out and said they're going to trade 3.
Yeah, they're going to get it. We'll talk about that. Put a pin in that. Hold that one.
Yeah.
Keep that one in your pocket, guys. I want to talk about Portland after this.
Oh, man. I think the answer is probably yes.
Because we talked about this, I think, during our draft lottery stream.
We've talked about this a little bit.
How Scoot may fall because of team
team's
need.
Up there. I don't think you can play Scoot and LaMelo Ball next to each other. They're both point guards. Like I'd like to believe in LaMelo a little bit. Scoot's a better shooter than you think. His stats were decent this year. I said he was a bad shooter, and so I was wrong on that. I went and looked into it a little more. He can get better. I think for them, I think you take Brandon Miller too. I think you almost have to. You got to pick a different spot.
Agreed. It's not a one-to-one comparison by any means, but in the sense of playing alongside another point guard or someone that's point guard sized, it didn't work great with LaMelo and Terry Rozier. So
correct. How many games did they win this year? They won the one I saw, and they looked like the best team in the history of ever. They had
a good first half, and making an adjustment is not in Mike Budenholzer's repertoire.
Yeah.
So,
and they played 81 other games, and so I miss those.
We do need. Trevor asked, when are we doing that mock draft?
Oh, that'd be fun.
I would like to replicate what we did for the NFL draft and have as many hoop heads as want to be on in our Bite-Sized Sports Network to do this mock draft.
That would be fun. I would be about that.
And I can tell you we'll be live streaming live commentary from the NBA draft when that happens.
Exactly.
Even if it's just James and I here, we'll try to get as many of your favorite bite-sized commentators and content creators there for that. But we'll certainly be locked in on the NBA draft here pretty soon. But yeah, I agree. I think it's Miller at 2. Probably, and maybe is it a Thompson twin? Is it Amen Thompson?
I think we just got to acknowledge the fact that Portland's trading that pick, right? Like they've said, because I think that's where Scoot goes. I think it works out great for Portland because if they're going to try to build around Dame, which we want Lillard to win a title. Can we get him in the playoffs? Can we see Dame Lillard in the playoffs in Portland, please? Or get rid of him and let him go be in the playoffs? We talk about that.
The second one.
Yeah.
Because the first one, can we talk about what are they going to get for that third overall? How are they going to build a championship contender with one asset?
I know, and if you're trading up to get Scoot, what type of team is trading up? It's a team that's not very good, right?
Yes, correct.
Who are you getting for him? You know, like who's gonna? I like the idea. Like I think they should trade it. I don't know. I kind of think they should just trade. Like, I hate it, but maybe they should trade Dame and start the rebuild with Scoot.
That is what I would do. I would take the 3rd overall pick and I would trade Dame Lillard because then you can. He is worth a good return. It may have to be a three-team trade.
He's worth a stellar return.
You know, because you see, of course, Justin Herbert mentions it, and I've seen it a lot online that the Sixers are tied to Dame a lot. But if something like that happens, I imagine there's got to be a 3rd team involved because I don't know.
I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him with Embiid. That'd be awesome.
100%.
3. God, he front-ended it. Man, he's struggling.
Ooh, what do you think about this? So while we're talking about this, Justin throws a potential trade in the chat. Dame time to Philly for Maxey Melton and Tobias Howard.
Tobias Howard?
I imagine. Yeah, right. I know how you feel about Tobias Howard. Maybe there's some. I imagine there's draft capital included in this, but I also imagine it's only 2 of those players. I don't think it's all 3. Maybe it's all 3. Melton. Yeah, maybe it's all 3 because of Melton.
Could be a throw-in. Could be a salary type deal.
I think Tobias is the salary deal.
How about that? They paid him a lot of money for him to be very good.
He's the salary dump to make this.
He was really good before he got there too.
Sadly, yes. Well, he was good in that sense of, we've talked about this before, at least I've made my position on this very clear, where you've had the Chris Bosches in Toronto, the Kevin Loves in Minnesota, who, yes, they weren't the guy when they went to go play with real teams, but I will just say this. Even on the worst teams in the NBA, somebody's got to score 20 to 24 points a night.
Yeah.
And there are those guys that we've seen be able to fill it up on a not great team, go get a contract, and then where did they go? Paging Chandler Parsons. Paging Chandler Parsons. Where is Gordon Hayward, by the way? Although his isn't fair. His isn't fair because he got hurt. But you get what I'm saying. We've seen some guys that they put up numbers on bad teams and then they get paid, and then you're just a 12-6 guy for $20 million a year to average 12.6 rebounds. Even more than Andre Miller and Chris Webber. Oh God, that's a throwback right there.
That's a tough one, but.
Wow, he says Tobias Harris the worst contract in Sixers history.
It's not great. When you factor in that they had to trade Jimmy Butler because of it, it really looks very bad.
I forget. Sometimes I forget about those things. And a Jimmy Butler who wanted to be there, which is a rare Jimmy. Like you don't see that era.
That was a
Jimmy.
lot when Jimmy was bouncing around a lot.
Well,
he wanted to be there, and he went to the perfect place for him, man.
Yeah, because when John mentioned being a Timberwolves fan and saying, "Hey, I also root for a team that should have never got rid of Jimmy," it unlocked an achievement Xbox style in my brain because I completely forgot
that. I'm gonna go pull him up because I want to see the path traveled. I completely forgot that he played up there.
I thought that was a Mandela effect thing there for a second. I was like, wait, that's right. Jimmy Butler did play in Minnesota for what they like to call in baseball a cup of coffee.
God, he really did, man. Chicago for 6 years. Minnesota for a year and 10 games. Then was traded to Philly. Played in Philly for 55 games. And then immediately was traded to Miami. And he's been in Miami for 4 now. And he's gone to 2 conference finals and the finals.
Not too shabby. While we look at the current game, I see the Lakers have a 9-point lead against the Nuggets. Is that what I am seeing?
Yes, it's a timeout. It's the Nuggets don't look good.
You know, Lee mentioned something here. I'm going to pivot again really quickly just because I love this chat interaction, and I believe, still have a Timberwolves fan in the chat. So he's saying, Lee here in reference to Jimmy Butler, saying he didn't like Cat, which I don't disagree. There seems to be a trend here. We saw a tweet in the last week or so, which I made fun of a little bit, and we'll get to that in a second. But Anthony Edwards is going to France to train with Rudy Gobert, which I think is kind of funny, but it's good for the team, right? That's two of their leaders going to work out together. And we noticed that Cat wasn't mentioned. And he's had a lot of there's been a lot of history of him maybe not getting along, not being the best teammate, or even really being a committed teammate. And so I find that very interesting that Jimmy didn't like Cat. We hear rumors now, and see, we got Lee say Cat wouldn't practice. We're talking about a guy who, while he is active, already claims to be the best shooting big man of all time, which is absurd. It is ridiculous for a lot of reasons, so much so I'm not even going to continue with a take on it. I just would say, go watch some Dirk Nowitzki tape for a while and understand you've got a ways to go. But yeah, I think there's a bit of an issue there where Cat might not have the right mentality, and it seems to be, which is funny. It's funny when Rudy Gobert is looking like the good teammate, the guy who rubbed his hand all over a bunch of microphones, and then we found out gave a bunch of people COVID or whatever it was. Like, just like the class clown goofball that has not, anytime you've heard about him, it's not been for like, oh, Rudy's a good leader. It's just been like, oh, that's Rudy being Rudy, just being kind of a clown. And yet now he's looking like the leader as opposed to Cat. So I'm worried about your boys, John, out in Minnesota. I'm also worried about your boys here, Trev. 64-57 is what I'm looking at with 7 minutes left in the third, and the Lakers.
They just hit back-to-back free throws. They've got LeBron guarding Jokic, and then they're doubling him too. So somebody else is going to have to step up, and Jamal Murray is having a trash game. Michael Porter's only taking 4 shots. Like,
3 of 15.
They're doing everything they can to try to stop the Joker. I mean, LeBron is guarding the Joker right now.
That is LeBron the kitchen sink at that point? Like, have they thrown?
They're doing everything. Oh, and then Michael Porter Jr. has an absolutely terrible fucking language. Sorry. Absolutely
you're all right. You're okay. We're good.
This whole, like, somebody's got to help the Joker out right now. Like, he gets all the way to the rim and then just turns it over like an idiot.
YouTube doesn't like him in the first 3 minutes, and I just don't. As long as people aren't here like, oh yeah, brother, I'm there because those guys say fuck. But other than that,
yeah, exactly,
we're good, dude. I am not a big censorship guy. I think we can be an inclusive environment that has a lot of fun, but also rib each other. So much. To me, the fun about sports is me being able to bust your proverbial balls right now because the Nuggets are down by 11. It's going to come right back to me tomorrow. It's going to come right back to me next week.
Well,
we do
this
it all
fall,
here with
it'll
fun.
be neither of us because I think the Titans and Colts will probably just tie.
Yeah, we're just going to sit that one out. We're
3-3.
Sit that one out.
Will Levis throws 5 interceptions. Anthony Richardson throws 4.
Oh, Justin, I relate to this is painful.
Yeah.
I feel his pain. Now, I am not someone who has had, like, I had favorite teams before I had favorite players. So I didn't have the whole, so for instance, Justin points out if he wasn't loyal to Allen Iverson, he would have left the Sixers as a fan. I feel for folks like that. Our boy Sean is only a Suns fan because he's a Kentucky fan and he loves Devin Booker. Could you imagine how painful it would have to be to have picked up the Suns as your favorite team in the last decade? And like, this is the experience that you've had so far.
Trev coming for blood here. We don't know.
Hey, there it is. A-Chain. That's what we got. Hey, check out. Trevor is your guy to go to for all things fantasy. He and Dan popped out a fantastic video about dynasty rookie drafts. We whipped up a little short. You might want to see his take on who he would draft in a rookie fantasy draft between JSN and Jordan Addison. I think you might like that. So check it out. It is live on our channel right now. Go check it out. Football all the time, fantasy stuff Wednesdays and Fridays. It straddles us here on the bounce, which is great because I need it to do my homework. So what else you got, James? The Nuggets are closing in here.
Fast break, missed 3 by Russell. Fast break, Jokic throws it to Michael Porter. It's not a great pass. He catches on the left wing, moving to the left. He doesn't catch it. He dribbles it, ends up in almost the corner, shoots it on the move. It's an absolutely terrible shot and just splash. I did just say somebody else has got to help the Joker out, man. I just said it. Somebody's got to help him. If it's got to be Michael Porter, it's got to be Michael Porter. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Here's this take. I wanted you to see.
John's mad because the picture didn't come true. The Will Levis Vikings picture didn't come true. Instead, he's with me. He's my problem.
Yep, he's all yours now, Sonny boy. Just a reminder, though, to those of you who like talking NBA with us, if you want to watch some NBA with us, you can do so over on Playback TV /Bitesize Sports. I just put that link in the comments as well on the platform, so go ahead and check that out wherever you are watching and follow us there. Go ahead and join the room to be notified whenever we go live. It's just like this podcast, except we'd actually have the game pulled up. We'd be watching it side by side simultaneously. We could do a little bit better than Mark Jackson and the other bald guy, my third favorite bald guy, Jeff Van Gundy.
Lee, technically that's incorrect because he got hurt at Missouri and played like 1 minute.
He shot that all the time at Missouri in practice.
Yeah, exactly. He was hurt very early. He got hurt very, very early. Sorry to interrupt your playback moment there, Kev.
That's okay. You know, I just get them in when I can. We gotta work our advertisements in here soon. Which little teaser for later. Well, I know you guys are. Oh, yeah, I'm so excited to be pitched to later on in life. But I'm excited, and I think it's a huge get for this brand that Bitesize Sports has their first official sponsor coming. So we will be very soon selling stuff to you folks at home, which is great. It means you all have been watching and sticking around and interacting and engaging in our live stream chats. We owe it to you. We thank you. And so, of course, we'll be sure to make sure whatever we sign up with, if it's cool, we're going to get you the best price we can. So be on the lookout for something cool from Bitesize Sports. Let me check out the comments while we look at the score. JJ Redick is going to be the new coach of the Philadelphia 76ers.
He needs to stay on TV. I need him on TV.
We need him to go be an assistant at Duke at least first. Go be an assistant for 2 years and then go be a head coach, because I think he could do it.
Just go to the NBA. It worked for Steve Nash.
Yeah, it works so very, very, very good. All right, what do we have? We've got the draft lottery. We talked about Wemby. Should we talk about the Pistons and all? How it must feel to watch a team win 17 games for the fifth pick
and get the worst pick in the draft? You miss out on Wemby, Scoot, the Twins. Oh, that's tough. That one's tough.
Especially you might have thought for about 6 hours that you might get Scoot, and then Portland's like, just so everyone knows, we would like to trade this pick.
Just
the entire world.
We're working. We're out for business.
Yes. Listen, as a fan of the NBA Central, I could hear this comment. Detroit basketball.
This is here's a wild question for you. Whoa.
Chandler Parsons.
Yeah.
Parsons. No, absolutely not. I mean, he'll get it. Yes, he will get it. Should he get it?
Whoever gives it to him's an idiot.
Are they going to regret giving it to him? Is he suddenly going to shrink when he is not the third option behind LeBron James and Anthony Davis? Yes. Although, I mean, to be fair, he did have some good games down that stretch when both those guys were hurt. So I don't think he's a scrub by any means.
Yeah.
That just feels like an overpay to me.
$20 million a year for that guy, like. Yeah, no, I'm not doing
it. Yeah, see, exactly. Justin calls it out. Paging Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris. Yeah,
yes. Tobias Harris over me.
You're
going to hear every Austin Reeves over me. No, don't do it. That's don't.
Do not do it. Steer clear, Big Tuna.
Do not collect $20 million.
There's safer
each year.
Head for safer waters.
Which, speaking of, Aaron Gordon just drove down the base or down the center with Austin Reeves guarding him and just pretty much just threw him into the stands. Like, get out of here, son.
Alan Crabb. Can we just do that? Play that game in the chat where we just start naming, just dropping random
most
reserve.
random NBA player.
Keith Van Horn. Let's let's get it going. Let's get some Jeff Fosters and Scott Pollers in the chat, please. There we go. Here it comes, Tyler Johnson.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it. Reeves doesn't play enough defense to pay him even $12 million a year. That's what Lee says. And that's a good, we didn't even talk about the defense. We just talked about that. We didn't think his offensive input would be consistent enough to hold that value, but that's a good point too. Are you going to pay that much for what I will call maybe like a Lou Williams light? Obviously their games aren't the same, but we're talking about an offensive specialist off your bench, right? So maybe use Manu Ginobili if that fits your styling a little bit better. But again, it's Manu light. It's like the Aldi version or the Dollar General version of a Manu Ginobili. I don't get it. I've seen it. I've seen people doing it. You know what I want to throw out here? Could it be that Austin Reeves' agent is the one behind leaking these sort of things, right?
Very well could be.
Who else would be drumming up the trying to jack the price up for this guy? But no, I think if he gets paid $20 million like that, it's going to be enjoy your time scoring 16 points a night in Charlotte, Austin. Enjoy that. That'll be good. Yes, here we go. We got some good random players in the chat. Go ahead, James. What were you saying?
Just every time the Nuggets get close, the Lakers go on a run. So they just hit a 3. It's 4 now. Every time they've done this, the Lakers have gone on like a 6-0 run. Oh, Raja Bell. That's a big
such a good one.
I mean, we can name all this. We can do this team off that Phoenix Suns. Raja Bell, Leandro Barbosa, Boris Diaw.
Yes. Boris Diaw. You hit me with the Boris Diaw. It threw me off. We got Sean Marion in that time frame. We got
Stoudemire, Steve Nash.
Oh man. Remember, don't forget, what was it? Was it Joe Johnson?
Joe Johnson, yes. He was on that team before he left. Signed the max deal. Like, they were absolutely loaded, sickeningly loaded when Joe Johnson was on that team. And they never won anything. Makes you sick.
Because Steve Nash is a bad floor general.
It was Nash, Joe Johnson, Sean Marion, Stoudemire. Who was the 5th starter on that team? Did Diaw start? Can you look it up?
Yeah, you have to look that one up. I don't remember if it was Diaw. Was Grant Hill still around back then, or was that Grant Hill might have been a little bit earlier? It's hard to, because there's that phase where the Phoenix Suns just had the best training staff in the NBA. So, Grant Hill was there, Shaq was there. Both those guys had a bit of a renaissance at the end of their career. Shaq not nearly to the same degree as Grant Hill, but he still played pretty well.
He had the best training staff for a long time
compared to, what he did for Cleveland or Boston. There we go. Oh, Justin Herbert hits was with Willie Green and John Salmons. John Salmons was a bucket. Listen, guys, I got to stop saying listen so often. I got to find a new catchphrase. John Salmons could get you some. He was a quiet, he could. I'm trying to think of who he kind of reminds me of, like Malik Monk nowadays, where you would have some nights where you're like, oh yeah, John Salmons with a nice 1 for 7, and then the next night he's getting you 30 something off the bench. John Salmons was a bucket.
It was Barbosa, Joe Johnson, Sean Marion, Steve Nash, Smush Parker was on that team. Quentin Richardson was on that team. Amari Stoudemire. Oh my Lord.
Smush Parker.
Yeah.
Great name, average game.
Hey, Peyton Manning's at the game tonight. I'm showing him right now.
Oh, it's in Denver. Yeah. Yeah, and his new favorite home, Denver. Yeah, because they appreciated him when Jimmy Irsay didn't. Disgusting.
Let's go Phoenix Suns. Stats.
Not that he could ever go to a Pacers game if the Pacers were in the conference finals. You know, he might, but he's not going to ever get that opportunity now, is he, boys?
Nuggets have tied it.
Ooh, 1 minute left. I tell you what, James, I may hop over to Blayback.tv/bitesize sports after this to watch the fourth quarter, because I don't know We're at a minute. We're at an hour 20. I don't know if we'll make it the whole way.
We won't
but
make it. Here we go.
I will. I might just watch the rest of that game.
Oh, okay.
Trevor's. I walked away for 3 minutes. What happened? Yeah, James, tell him what happened.
Run. 10-0 run, Trev. 10-0 run. The Nuggets game. 10-0 run. The Nuggets came back. All right. Here we go. Here is your 2004-2005 Phoenix Suns roster. Leading scorer, Marty Stoudemire, center, 26 points a game. Second leading scorer, Sean Marion, 19.4 points per game. Joe Johnson averaged 17.1. Steve Nash, 15.5. And your fifth starter was, drum roll please, Quentin Richardson.
Ooh, Quentin Richardson.
14.9 points per game. Barbosa off the bench. They literally played like 6 guys. This is a Mike D'Antoni team for sure.
I threw another name in the chat, Todd McCullough, while we're playing the random NBA guy name. Q, this reminds me, Quentin Richardson, do you remember the first iteration of a Clippers team that people got excited about, the Elton Brand, Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson, where they did I was in about 7th grade when that team was around, so wearing a headband and hitting it with both hands after you made a basket was very much the thing to do. Those guys, they crawled so that Lob City could lob. They
did. Lob City was so fun. Talk about a team that didn't win anything.
Who was their coach, by the way? I can't remember. Who coached that Lob City team that can never get deep into the playoffs? Jeez, was it Doc Rivers? My God. How many Hall of Famers is he going to keep from an NBA championship?
He really did. That's crazy.
I'm sorry.
He really did, man.
Well, what do we want? Oh,
Elton Brand got you too there, Justin. He got old and fat real fast.
Ooh, that's a fun one for chat. What's the worst signing or the biggest disappointment that your favorite team has put you through? It doesn't have to be the NBA, of course, is what we would like, but we know we have folks from all walks of life here, and we're all sports fans, so we'll probably get the reference. So who is the worst? Sorry. Listen, I have been on the Doc. James says he's in front of the line of the Denver Nuggets train. I am in the front of the line. Doc Rivers is an overrated basketball coach, but no, he's doing a better job than I've ever done. So let's understand that too. But I wonder how many guys named Joe Bradley would still have their job after this sort of output,
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's Doc Rivers, and I think that has allowed being a huge NBA name, being such a great player like he was. I don't know what it is. The dude's made of kryptonite, man. He seems to fail forward. He doesn't do, he goes from Boston, he wins, that goes okay, that starts to fall apart. He gets the Clippers job. The Clippers thing does not go well, and he falls forward into the Sixers position. Mm-hmm. How many times is he going to land in a soft spot? I don't know. I don't know that it's going to happen one more time. Ooh, Mbutu. What do you have one, James, off the top of your head, whether it's Titans or anyone where it's just, man. So for Colts fans, I would say it's probably I was about to say Anthony Richardson. What was that Alabama running back?
Yeah.
Richardson that they traded 2 draft picks to the Browns for Alabama running
Trent
back. Trent Richardson. There we go.
Titans for me, it's the ghost of Randy Moss and Julio Jones. Both traded or signed them at the tail end of their careers, and they were nothing.
Ooh, yeah, that one's bad. For the Colts, it would probably be Matt Ryan in recent memory.
That one hurts.
That one was bad. Pacer-wise, I'm trying to think. I mean, the signing I regret the most, but not because they were bad, is Ron Artest, just because, it was one of those. He was a big part of what made that team great, but he was the sole factor in destroying that whole team. And then when the franchise stood by him, he still demanded a trade. When they stood by him through his entire suspension, as soon as he got out, he's like, I want to be traded.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Trevor's got it right. Trent Richardson.
I
was the
hope
wrong
not,
fourth
Trev.
pick.
I hope not. I hope Will Levis is going to make him eat his lunch.
Anthony Richardson is the correct fourth overall.
They're looking
pick.
to see if Denver. I don't know if they shot a 3 or tipped it in. I'm not sure here. They're doing that ref thing where they talk forever and nobody knows what's going on.
Oh, this one's really hard too, guys, because it's not like there's a.
Now we're going to the monitor.
It's not like there's a bright red light that goes off when the numbers hit 0. This should not take much time.
They're looking. I love that camera where they put it. It's like right here, and they acknowledge you like they're actually talking to you, even though they have no idea. Let's see here. Oh, they're trying. I think they're looking at did Anthony Davis tip it out.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That one hurts too, Justin. Yeah. Sounded like a good idea at the time.
Well, I don't think anything beats the
15 years
Mets.
without these.
Aren't the Mets still paying Bobby Bonilla?
The Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla. I don't think the Mets are the only team still paying Bobby Bonilla, by the way.
Which is wild.
I think he did that. Or at the very least, he's not the only player that has a contract like that where he just gets $1 million a year for X amount of years. So looking to see if it's goaltending, Trevor says. That's what they're taking a look at. Okay.
Yes.
Lee says Markelle Fultz to the Sixers.
Listen, Sixers Markelle Fultz was no good. Now, Orlando Magic Markelle Fultz I've been on that bandwagon too. That one's still open for business for anybody who wants to jump on board. I'm the leader of that bandwagon too.
And there are the ones that worked, but not quite as well. So for me, it's when I think about when the Pacers went and got Mark Jackson and Chris Mullin and Jalen Rose, and it was like, oh wow, how did that? And then that team did not win a championship. And it's
how about the Brooklyn Nets recently? James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant.
Future documentary,
yes,
titled 16 Games coming to Bite Size Sports.
The magic of 16.
The 16 magical games that those three played together. Did you hear the rumors that James Harden would be interested in playing in Phoenix? Because I can't imagine that Phoenix would be interested in having James Harden.
I don't think Kevin Durant would want him back. Like, why would you want to play with him again?
I don't know if he was perceived as the problem. From what I gather, it seemed that the issues were between James and Kyrie, it's funny when James Harden is the hardworking employee in comparison. Yeah, no, right?
Remember Fat Harden?
Oh yeah, I do. I remember to this day what John Wall said about playing in Houston and what that was like, and how Harden was more concerned with setting up the party he had after practice and all of these things, which is why I believe, no matter what he says, that Houston's probably where he's going. But when I see people on Twitter thinking that he's going to go to Phoenix, I just can't imagine a scenario where that's attractive to either party. Would Booker, let's see what Trevor says, would Booker be the one and then Paul move on? I think Paul's moving on no matter what.
I think so. They need a young point guard is what they need really bad.
And if I may be wrong here, so correct me if I am, I believe the Suns are now in a position where if they cut Chris Paul by a certain deadline, they're going to save a lot of money.
I believe so. Yes.
I think if he's not restructured, I believe Chris Paul will not be a Phoenix Sun next year. That's just my thoughts.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think
Trev, do you have any idea what they called here? For some reason, I don't even know what's happening. The Lakers suddenly have the ball with 0.5 seconds left, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's rolling it back in time.
I don't know what happened.
While we wait to figure out what has happened there, shout out and thank you to all of you watching. This is great. We're simulcasting on 3 platforms right now. We have viewers across all 3. Appreciate those of you on Facebook. I can see those likes. I can't see the YouTube ones, but I appreciate those. I'm sure they're there as well. We have had a very, very active chat today, and I love it. Here we got Lee points out the Yankees are still paying A-Rod. There's another good one. Yeah. Goaltending happened, says Trevor.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yes, it makes sense.
If that was the official rule, then okay, there we go. So we've hit the end of the third on my end. I won't tell you what happened, James, because I think you might be.
I did too. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do before we wrap up. Let's do one last quick look at the stats. You got 79-76, LA up at the end of the third. My big worry here, Kev, is that Denver's not going to be able to get in front. Like they've been behind the whole time. They've tied up, but they haven't climbed the hump, and that's what I'm actually really worried about right now. LeBron 16, Anthony Davis 12, Russell 10, Reeves 14. Hachimura's got 19 on 9 shots. He's been great for the Nuggets. Joker's got 23. Murray's got 14 on 17 shots. Woof. 2 of 9 from 3. He has struggled. Gordon 10, Porter Jr. 10, Caldwell Pope 8, Bruce Brown 9. So somebody else is going to have to step up to help them. And then the Lakers have shot 12 more free throws, made 11 more. So that's the key right now. Neither team's shooting well from 3.
Well, let's get the last question out for the group. Of course, get questions to us if you've got them. We are almost out of here for the night, but with a 3-point lead with 1 period left in the game, let us know if you have changed your mind. I think most of the folks in the chat picked the Lakers already, but we have new folks in the chat. So who is going to win? Let us know in a comment right now. Before I read any of those, James, do you have any final words for the people at home? Is it time for us to tell them where to find you?
It's always the Nugs, baby. Actually, it was always the Owls, but it was not the Owls at the end. Hopefully the Nugs make it past the Final Four. You can find me everywhere on social media, Kev at Schmeitzo6, and then we're here every Thursday at 9. However, we do have some special guests next week because I am going to be on the road on vacation next week, so I will be sitting next week out. We're going to have a star-studded lineup of bite-sized hosts coming in next week to fill in for me. And I will probably be in the chat next week. I just will not be doing it live next week.
We'll keep the fort held down for you, brother. Don't worry about that.
You're going to have 1 million viewers next week, and I'm just going to be like, well, I was the problem.
You're going to get in there. No,
thanks for joining.
Hey, D West, thank you for joining. And go check out 3 Wide TV after this, folks. The bite-sized sports car just had a race. I don't know what happened yet because I've been here hanging out with you guys, but I know that I will be in our Discord finding out right about now, and you can go again, watch it on 3 Wide TV. We're in the playoffs, all right? Most of our team is in the playoffs, so we are doing some big things over on 3 Wide TV, so go check us out, and shout out D West. Hey, if you want to hang out or come back, David, I am about to watch the 4th quarter of this NBA game. I'll probably P3 and P5. Let's go.
There we go. Whoa, we're the points leader.
We are the points leader. Let's go. Shout out Bite-Size Sports Racing Car. What is it? South Shore Racing on the OSCA.
Yeah.
That is the racing league, and it is broadcast live Thursday nights on 3 Wide TV. I will make you all this offer. If you're not watching us on Thursday night, please be watching 3 Wide TV, okay? We really appreciate the folks there. I am blessed. So happy to be involved. We just had the Bite-Size Sports 158, by the way, last week. So go check that out. Very cool. Our boy Nate got to do the interview. He got to speak on our behalf. That was so awesome for me to sit there and hear that.
Awesome.
We are really looking for it. And let's see, we got a dual monitor this show. Let's go. We'll be there. You got a dual monitor with 3 races to go.
3 more.
All right. So with that,
speaking of vacations, Trev, it's on the bite-sized dime. I racked up enough hours that I'm cashing it in.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I just actually look at that. I just got a DM from Trevor too. Listen. Okay. Yep. So all right, vacation time, everybody. No.
Michael Porter Jr. 4-3.
So those of you who want to talk more basketball, give me about a 5 to 10 minute intermission. We will be on a different live stream, but I am going to watch the rest of this game on Playback TV, and I will pull it up here. You won't be able to watch the game with me here, but you'll get to chat with me, and we'll get to talk, and you'll get to hear what is being chatted about over on Playback. So let's call it 5-10 minutes. We'll see you again real soon. In the meantime, please subscribe. We've got more live shows for you. I believe we have Rumbles of Red this Friday. I believe we have another fantasy show for you tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed with the bell turned on so you never miss a live show. We're dangerously close to one every single night of the week. So until then, we thank you all so much for joining. I didn't have time to shout out everybody in chat, but there were a ton of you here, and we really appreciate you guys Until then,
they before you sign off, they just got an offensive foul. Joker pushed off LeBron, which I think he did, and then they showed LeBron, so he's sitting on the sidelines, just sitting there like waiting to get up. And one of the fans, they got him zoomed on his face. They hand him like their towel they got for the game, you know, like the little hand towels they give out, and he looks at him and goes, "Thanks, man." It's great. It is actually an elite. So he gets spilled, like he gets a drink spilled on him. Oh, this is so good. He's like, thank you. He's got like drink on. He's like, man. And the guy hands the towel. And the guy's just like, thank you. It's
this year's Booker giving the kid a fist bump moment. That's what we got.
So they pass the ball in, and he goes like this, and he just looks. That was great, man. That was great. I want to give LeBron his props. That was awesome. That was a great.
Yeah, exactly. For all the crap we give him, we gotta give him his props when they're due.
That was so good.
Well, you know what else was so good was this episode of The Bounce, and so much of that had to do with those of you watching at home on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We appreciate you so much, especially those of you that joined in the chat. But hey, you lurkers, I appreciate you too. All right, I'm a lurker sometimes too. Just leave us some reacts in there, and we'll know that you're here. So until next time, we will see you later. Thank you so much.
See you, folks.